Get the money.
What's up, everybody? KG here, coming at you with another podcast on the crypto journey. Today, I have a very special guest who is the founder and I believe the main or one of the developers on the BNBPot PulsePot project, which is a type of crypto lottery. We're going to deep dive into it, find out exactly what it is. I will be learning a lot on today's stream. I'll be asking all the questions. If you have any questions, anything you want me to ask this fine gentleman, please drop them in the comments. I will do my best to get to all questions. I appreciate everybody joining today. Appreciate all your support. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. And again, to my guest, thank you for jumping on today. I appreciate all your time. It is my friend, Jacob.
Hello, brother. Thank you for inviting me.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Good. Yeah. Thank you for being on here. You said thank you for inviting. It's an honor to have you. I like learning. I appreciate you taking the time to educate and spread the word about your project. I think that's very important for founders to do that.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what we are here doing. We are trying to get the word out. We are launching in less than 5 days, or roughly 5 days. So obviously, as many people we can get to know about our project before that would be beneficial to everyone, I think.
Sure, absolutely. And I will get into the launch. We'll get into all that. I definitely want to hear about it. But let's say what's up the chat real quick. Cavolt DeFi, hello. Enrique, hello. RV, we'll get back to that question. Heinz, how's it going? Go positive. Pulse Tube, DB, Elvis. I'm going to leave it at Elvis. And PSI wants to know who your favorite
Yeah, that's an admin.
I'm sure. Nice. And BNBP is an awesome project. Yeah, I've seen the tweets going around. I've seen the buzz. So I'm definitely curious. The first thing we like to do on the show is we like to deep dive into who is the team, who is the founder, who are you? So if you wouldn't mind, you're welcome to go as deep as you want to go. What has been your journey into the crypto space? How did you get from point A to point B? Point B being here.
Yeah, that's a good question. My name is Jacob, and I'm a family father of 3 kids from Denmark. I'm in my mid-30s, and I've been a professional web developer for almost just under 20 years. I am mostly self-taught, but with all the resources online, you can get really far nowadays. My journey into crypto, in 2013, I was on the Bitcoin Talk forum, and I was mining BTC, roughly 5 to 10 BTC every night on my PC while I was sleeping. I was living with my parents. My father, he complained about the electricity bill, so he asked me how much are these coins worth. So we did a small math on a note block, and we realized that we were basically losing money every night I was doing this. So we quickly came to an agreement that it made no sense to do. So, so without any thought put into the true innovation and revolution in finance behind it, it was just like literally just a math on the spot. Does this make sense or does it not? It was not any kind of speculative movement at all. So I stopped, and I think I had like 200, 500 BTC at that point. I don't know. I just sent them all away to a random wallet. It was like $5. So I just wanted to see if the network actually worked. So I just Googled a random wallet and I sent all of my BTC.
No, you didn't.
I did, and I'm happy. I was like, "Whoa, this actually works! I can send $2 to someone or $5 or how much it actually was." So that's how I lost my 500 BTC, and someone got it. But
Wow.
I have no regrets because it's something like that. You can only regret it for the rest of your life, or you can own up to it and say that you didn't know better. You couldn't have predicted what was going to happen, right? And I simply will not let that control anything at all. It doesn't matter at all to me. It's just a funny story, and obviously I've made a pretty good comeback. So
Sure.
after that, I was not into crypto. I was full time developing like PHP, like low level stuff, and suddenly I get exposed to an advert on Facebook. Just classic scrolling on Facebook, and I saw an advert for $15 Ethereum, and it was like marketed in a way where it says the next Bitcoin, right? And
Oof.
and then it kind of struck me that then I remembered that story where I threw that away, and I started to look into Ethereum at $15. Um, and from there on out, when I realized what Ethereum was, I kind of immediately also realized that I would put my developing skills into building in this space because it was so interesting. It was actually only at that point I understood what crypto could become. I didn't really see that in the first iteration of my exposure to crypto. But this time was different. I was older, I was more wise, I was a better developer. So, yeah, from that point on, I was just full on crypto. And I was just a speculator for the first, I think, well, maybe 4 or 5 years. And then after the pump in 17, I realized, after the ICO craze, I realized I will do my own crypto project one
Mm.
day. I saved up some money from the regular work so I could go full time just creating a crypto, and that's exactly what I did. And basically, yeah, here we are. I was following Richard already at that point. Because he was, the guy with the top hat, calling people out was kind of funny, and yeah, you know the story. He creates Hex. I was in from day one. Well, not on the day one AA pump, but like day 5 or whatever. And yeah, made incredible returns on that. And basically just put all the money to work so that I could be here today. So that's long story short is that I've been extremely early in, and I've been extremely privileged to be in the position I'm in with the correct age and with the correct interests. So yeah, here I am trying to build my part of DeFi.
Wow. That's that's a very cool story. It's not every day that you meet somebody who was in as early as you were. And
Yep.
I appreciate your philosophy, the outlook of saying, well, it happened. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm not going to dwell on that and allow that to be my narrative in the crypto space. You take it as a funny story, which I actually think that story is probably a little more hardcore than the Bitcoin pizza guy, because at least he got pizza. You know?
True. Well, it wasn't exactly 10,000. I'll be that honest, but it
Oh, true.
was. I think it was close to 1,000, like between 500 and like 1,000. But obviously today, like generational wealth change gains, right? But yeah, it is what it is. And I honestly think even had I not given it away, I would have sold it at a $16 top, whatever, right? That's just psychology facts. And I'm of the personal belief that if anyone held from 30 cents to 69K, either you lost your keys or you're a billionaire. Like it's one of the two. So yeah, so I know that
Sure.
even if I didn't give it away, there was not a realistic chance that I would have held it anyway. So it doesn't really matter.
Sure. That's totally fair. And I mean, to mathematically speaking, there was probably one person, right, who'd held from a penny to 69K. Sure. But your
Yeah,
average person didn't be, and especially because A, there was a lot of money to be made on the way up, but also we didn't have that narrative in crypto in early Bitcoin like we do now, where it's crypto is the best appreciating asset in the history of mankind, all these things, because it was the first one. It was still the experiment. So how could you
Yeah.
know? You had nothing to compare to.
Yeah, exactly. So you didn't really even have the focus on such an upside. Like for me, the upside would have been a $5 top, and I would have been, running around the house and been celebrating that, right? Because the perspective back in 2013, especially for me, it was like my mind not didn't even consider what actually ended up happening here in 2021 or where it was, right? So yeah, it's a good story to look back to, but also, I think all of us have a different story in crypto, and some are, yeah, some they are different, all of us, right?
Absolutely. And that's why I love asking that question and making this the first part of the segment because, or the first part of the show is this segment because it provides perspective into who we're talking to, which then leads me into the next question. Why did you decide to make your own crypto? What was the motivation, the influence, the the mission, I guess, that you were trying to accomplish?
Um, yeah. So since I was a developer already, I just love problem solving. Honestly, it's like my main thing is creativity and problem solving, I would say, and also I'm deeply passionate about cryptocurrency in general. This entire financial revolution and this innovation and this, the power back to the people and all of that. So I knew in my heart that I would combine those skills to help build in this space. Obviously, I didn't know what, when, but I knew that at some point it would happen. I just needed the right idea. And my main motivation is obviously to push myself and my creativity and my problem solving skills, but also financial. We all work to cover our bills and to feed our children, right? My three children, they are not cheap, that's for sure. And and so sitting here and says it's all philanthropy and just out of pure passion. No, it's also financial. When I do work, I expect to get paid, and I'm working full time on this and have been doing for almost 12 months. And I truly believe that I found a niche that has not been addressed at all. There's been some, I would say, half-assed attempt to do what we do, but there has not really been anything that does this 100% as decentralized, trustless as we have set out to do. So immediately when I saw there was an opening in actually a completely unique project to make that wasn't available to fork or and on any other chain or in any other crypto, I knew that okay, this is me. This is what I'm going to do, and just started from scratch. Basically, just started with a white empty notepad, and then let's build.
Sure. And so, with you being, and don't let me misclassify you. I would classify your project as a gambling project. Would yes or no?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. What drew you towards that side of the industry?
Numbers mainly. Problems and numbers. So in gambling, just in the United States, you have $200 billion of volume. One country that is even has censorship, and every single year over year, you will see an increase in volume. To me, I'm not a gambler myself. Don't really do that kind of stuff. But I realize people do. There's a statistic that says I think it's 1 in 7 Americans will do a bet just this week, every single week, year round. So obviously there is numbers, there's money, there's volume, there's interest, and I think it's psychological, right? This idea that you can put in a little and get lucky and win a lot, it's so appealing to a really broad amount of people. Um, so the numbers combined with the problems. So the problems are that a lot of countries they censor gambling even for adults. Like you can earn your own money and be 40 years old, but someone will tell you what you can do and what you can't do. In my mind, that makes no sense. Censorship is a big thing. Number two is cheating. There's a lot of cheating going on in centralized gambling sites where they literally can predict their role, or they can predict the probably fair role, or they simply have a lower RTP percentage than they market to the players. So basically, when you gamble on any centralized service, you are completely dependent on them doing as they say they're going to do. And not only that, the financial side of it, you are completely dependent on when you win big and hit the jackpot that they actually have the liquidity to pay you out. There are the amount of people who contacted me and told me about their story. It's insane. I have people telling me that they are banned from every single site just because they want too much. So they would have. I have a personal friend who won 1 million Danish kroners in poker, and he was banned. They shut down his account. Absolutely nothing
He
wrong.
couldn't withdraw.
He was allowed to withdraw, but they asked him not to return. They shut it.
Wow.
Yeah, in this case, I have heard stories where they kept your money because what they do is they come up with these terms of service situation where either there was an issue with your identity, there was an issue with your KYC, or the credit card you used to deposit, or the IP that they could see you connected from. They will figure out any crazy story just to keep that money, right? And all of these problems combined, like censorship, bad odds, the house always wins, there's no guarantee of funding, basically companies going bankrupt when they need to pay their customers, right? All of these things I knew I could solve in one go. Like if I build all of the games in smart contracts that are immutable and are decentralized, what that basically means is that when you make a bet, you know the money is there, and you basically know the money is already there before you place the bet. So if you win, you're guaranteed to get it. Nobody can stop you. The contract does not care what age you are, doesn't care who you are, where you're from, what your name is, and what race you are. It doesn't care. It just looks at math and executes whatever it's told to do, right? So there's no censorship at all, and the money is guaranteed because they're literally player versus player that just takes a fee. So the contract just offers a secure environment for two people to match against each other with their believing in the opposite outcome, and whoever wins just get the entire lot of the money. And all of that is completely secure, trustless, and decentralized, and nobody can stop it. Like I cannot stop someone from getting their money. Nobody can stop you from getting your money when you win. You don't need to create an account. It's directly from the wallet, back and forth. So you make a bet, you win. It's instantly received in your wallet again. So there's no, middleman account on some centralized service where you have to pray when you click the withdraw button that you actually get the money, right? Because all bets you do is in and out of the MetaMask or whatever wallet you use every single time. Um, so I truly believe that with this product here, we have made a disruption in the area, because we basically solve everything that regulation exists for. Like regulation is for security of the player. So regulation guarantees the software is not cheating, guarantees that the company has the money and all of that. But with doing it the way we're doing it, we are already solving everything regulation is trying to do.
Hmm.
So in my mind, it's just a disruptive technology, and obviously we are in an area where half of all crypto is gambling already. Like trading is some people will consider that gambling anyway, especially if you're on BNB chain where 90% of it is meme coins. Like that cannot be more gambling. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. It's fair. So I do want to deep dive into the tokenomics, the actual in-depth aspects of the project. Let's hit a few questions in chat. We backed up a little bit and then we'll dive into that.
Okay.
So, Brasology, BNBP will only be on Binance. KG, I was told the BNBP bot on the swap feature of BNBPot won't be copied over.
Yep, that's absolutely true. Whatever happens after each deployment is their separate lives. The only thing that's guaranteed is the sacrifice set will be the starting point for all deployments. So whoever's sacrificed for post chain is getting that exact amount of copies on all chains we deploy on. So if you bought 10,000 BNBP right now, it would only exist on BNBP.
That makes total sense. That makes
Yes,
total sense to me.
that's the benefit of sacrificing.
Okay. What age did you? From what age did you start coding?
Around 16, 15, I think. 15, 16. Yeah.
Okay. Jacob, I've been trying to send some BNBP to my friend, but it's not working. Could you confirm and see if you can send me 500 BNBP, please?
Sure, I'll just send you $10,000, no problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm not sure if that was a serious question or not, but yeah.
No, I think they were saying that in relation to your 500 Bitcoin story.
Okay, sorry, I didn't get it. Yeah. So, good one, good one. I'm half asleep here. Okay.
All good. Sandy, hello. Founder is brilliant. You got some fans. Let's see. Are a little bit backed up. Okay. This, the liquidity pool, we'll dive into that in a moment. I just don't want to leave you ignored. We'll dive into this in a moment as well for the dev being doxxed. We will also dive into the updates regarding the game's launch.
Sounds good.
I see people asking about different games to add. We'll get into that. Okay. So I see all your questions. Let's let Jacob explain to us what's going on. We'll deep dive. I'll ask questions. So keep dropping your questions. We will get to them. I see them. They are not ignored. So Jacob, let's pretend I know nothing about your project. Tell me what it is you do. Obviously, we know you're gambling. You put in money. You can get money, right? We know that. But explain it to me. I'm new.
Okay, so BNBP is an opportunity for you to own a part of a casino. I think everyone understands that casinos makes money because they're programmed to make money, but they are owned by very rich people in Las Vegas. And this here is an opportunity for any average man to own a small part or a big part of the world's first fully decentralized casino. This means that the BNBP token is the same as a share of a company, because that share you hold will receive the profits that is generated by the casino. So all games on our platform will have a 1.5 to 3% fee, and that fee is paid by whoever's the winner. We deduct that from the winner before the payout. So the games run 24/7 and there will be multiple games, so they are just accumulating fees basically 24/7. Every 30 days, we take all of those fees we accumulated from whatever tokens was put in. Like, we accept hundreds of different tokens into the game. Like, we could even add internet money token to play with. And what will happen is that after 30 days of playing, we have accumulated a lot of fees in value. We might have, let's say, 20 different tokens accumulated. Then we automatically take those 20 tokens and swap them on PancakeSwap for BNBP. So applying buy pressure to the BNBP token, and after that, we airdrop that value into all of the holders. So if you have 10% of all tokens, you get 10% of the profit that the casino generates. So you will get an airdrop no matter what, as long as you stake. That is, you have to stake your BNBP to be eligible for the airdrop or the weekly lottery. So if you have them staked, you would get airdropped into your MetaMask without doing anything, a part of the profits that the casino generate. We spend 75% of all accumulated fees, therefore profits, to airdrop back to holders. 75%. Then we take 20% to buy BNBP on the DEX pair and automatically burn it to the null address in the token contract. So a 20% of all profits goes to a buy and burn. The last 5%, they go to a weekly lottery. And if you're staked, you will have a chance of winning the weekly lottery. It's only 5% of the profits, but only one winner, not airdrop to 2,000 wallets. So only one winner. So every 7 days, by being staked, it's the equivalent of a passive lottery subscription, basically, where at some point, if you win, you'll just see a big amount of money suddenly appearing in your wallet because you have a passive lottery subscription when you stake BNBP. And also, when you play on the platform, the amount of BNBP you hold in your wallet determines the fee you pay when you win. So if you have 100, you get 1.5% fee. If you have 0, you get 3% fee. And basically, if you have 50, you get the middle in between of that. So there are different tokenomics. There are different ways we pay back all of our holders. But fact of the matter is that we spend 100% of all profits the casino generate to pay back to the holders of BNBP token. So in other words, if you believe casinos make money, well, this here will airdrop that profit back to holders. And it's very different because normally when you stake and you receive yield, it's because the token inflates in almost all circumstances. But in our case here, you stake your BNBP and all value is coming from the outside. That means we can contain a 1 million max supply tokens while still paying continuous yield to all of the stakers without ever having to inflate. So that is in my mind a really powerful part of it. So we are not dependent on new demand on the token. We are obviously dependent on demand in the games because games they generate the profits, but we are not dependent on the demand of the token outpacing the inflation of the token, basically, which you normally would be in a other protocol where you stake and earn yield, right? So I think that is very unique in itself. When you stake our token, you are locked for 100 days and you receive all of the benefits during that period. When you get to the end of that 100 days, you basically are in a liquid staked state. This means that if you don't touch the stake, you are still receiving the rewards, but you can instantly unstake at any point and go liquid within 3 seconds. So when you have served the first 100 days, you are actually in like a super state where you still receive the yield but have an instant unstake functionality. And then the last thing I think I should mention is the price mechanic of the token, which is extremely unique as well. In all of the games, we have decided that BNBP token will always be minimum $30 of value. So it doesn't really matter what the value is in the market. It might be $10 on the market, it might be 5. But if you buy BNBP and you go to the games, it will honor it as a $30 value bet per token, no matter what. Only in the scenario of the token, the market price of the token going above 30, it will follow the price up. So if it's 50 on the market, well, obviously you'll get 50 in the game. But if it's under 30, it's just fixed at 30. It's like a minimum value in the games at 30. And then we added something called the 10% feedback loop, where if it's above 30, you will get 10% premium on top of that. So let's say it's $50 on PancakeSwap. If you buy that and go to the gambling games, it's now worth 55. There's always 10% on top when it's above 30. And the smart thing about that 10% feedback loop is, number one, it applies buy pressure to BNBP to go gamble. Because if you take $100 of BUSD and you want to gamble, why not turn it into BNBP and get $110 of gambling value, right?
Makes
And
sense.
and also on BNB, you have 90% of all projects are tax tokens. So what can we do to motivate people to gamble with the tax token value? Well, you might lose 10% by swapping because you're in a tax token. But if we give you the 10% back in the increased value, we basically remove that barrier to entry for someone in a tax project to gamble that because they don't lose the value. So it's actually a price mechanic that ends up benefiting both positive buy pressure, but also at the same time removes the barrier to entry for everyone who has value in a tax token, which is 90% of everyone in BNB chain. So that's my quick rundown of the project, tokenomics at least, and the price mechanics. So if you have any questions to that, please don't hesitate to ask.
I do. I do. So you said a lot there, a lot of numbers. I'm over here taking notes so that I keep my questions in order.
Yep.
So first question maybe not even a question, more of an observation. You said, okay, we could accept internet money, you could accept all these tokens, and that's great for BNBP holders, but that's bad for the token you're accepting. Because don't get me wrong, I'd love to bring adoption internet money, but on the onset, I don't want internet money involved in this game because you're going to dump it to buy BNBP. So it's going to put sell pressure and it's a negative externality on my token or on whatever token participates in your system.
Well, I'm not sure I 100% agree. Imagine you're in a jackpot and someone sends in internet money, and someone sends in Hex, and someone sends in BNBP or PLSP, right? Would be the correct example here. Whoever wins take home all of those free tokens. And obviously, it's their entire choice what to do with that token. They may hold it, they may sell it, they may re-gamble it. I have no idea.
Sure.
But fact of the matter is that we have to be inclusive. It's important for the entirety of the project that you can gamble with more than one currency. It's actually extremely important because the $30 value premium on BNBP would make no sense if you couldn't match it against something else that didn't have that.
Sure.
So the only place it does make sense is imagine that someone is putting in Hex, right? Or let's just keep it BNBP now. Imagine someone puts in a BUSD stablecoin, $100. Someone could actually put in 3.3 BNBP, and that would also match a 50% chance of winning against someone who put in $100 stablecoin, even though the BNBP is only $5 on the market, right? So only in a scenario where we accept other cryptos does this price mechanic actually make any sense. But good thing is we're going to list 50 to 100 different tokens, and the strength of that is winning a big candy bag of crypto. Imagine you put in internet money, right? You put in $1, you win a pot of $5,000. There could literally be 20 different cryptos in there, and they would all instantly appear in your wallet when you win. And now you have the decision of this: which do I sell? Which do I swap? Which do I re-gamble with? Which do I hodl? Because some people that was not previously an internet money buyer or holder is now an internet money holder, and they may stay that way, or they may research your project because now they have actually a part of your token. So before they swap it, they might want to research if they should hold it or not. So in my opinion, it's just utility and liquidity and action and transactions on your token contract. I'm having a hard time seeing how it could be negative for any token. But either way, nobody control what we whitelist, so it doesn't really matter in that sense.
I suppose that I hear that value proposition. That's fair. I suppose it's negative because, or at least negative to a degree, maybe not negative ultimately, but because of that fee that you pay to play basically is charged in the token that you're playing in, then that fee gets converted into BNBP. Well, that becomes sell pressure on the token that's being sold to buy BNBP. So it's good for BNBP holders, but negative for whatever token is being sold into BNBP.
Okay, so basically the 3%. I agree with that. That will be automatic sell pressure. And obviously, you could say that anyone who gambles their internet money token, like, is that a hodler, or what kind of user is that, right? So what are you exactly missing out on? No, I hear what you're saying, but fact of the matter is that it's going to happen, and nobody can really have any control over that, right? So it really comes down to the holders of these crypto if they want to submit them to the system, because if they want to use that value from that crypto, obviously
Sure.
That's what's going to happen, right? Yeah.
Sure. And I'm a big proponent of individual sovereignty. So if there's any IM holders that want to utilize this protocol, hey, it's your money. You do what you will with it.
Yeah,
And,
but with that said, we do have some liquidity requirements, and I will expect you to have significantly more liquidity on post chain when you go live, obviously. But when looking at the current BNB chain liquidity, I would say it's probably on the limit of what we are whitelisting. I think there's like $15,000 worth of BNB you can actually pull out of it. And moving the price obviously less, like $5,000, without moving it way too much. So we will have certain requirements for the token's liquidity before we whitelist it. And I know your current token is simply just a placeholder, but yeah, before we whitelist, basically to me it means everything that if you win, I want you to be able to swap it into any coin of choice without losing value. That is just the number one thing, right? So when we whitelist a token to submission into the gambling games, it's because there's liquidity for whoever wins to do with that token whatever they want, and that is extremely important to me.
Sure, that's totally fair because, well, how exciting is it to win a bunch of tokens that you can't sell? So I get
Without
that.
losing it, yeah.
Yeah, and not to we won't deep. I don't want to deep dive down this path because I want to stay focused on because I do have more questions over here, but just in reference to our liquidity, with the pulse chain being delayed, we're pivoting and we're being forced to pivot a little bit. So we are having conversations in the background about beefing up that BSC liquidity pool. So that's something that we may see.
Sounds good.
All right. Now, the rewards being paid, is it only to the stakers or simply the holders?
Only to the stakers. The holders will only benefit from the 20% buy and burn. The stakers will benefit from the airdrop and the lottery subscription, and obviously also the buy and burn. But the staking gives you access to the lottery and the airdrop, which is 70 80% of the entire value that the casino generates.
Okay. And then you were talking about the 100-day stake. Now, is that I stake, it's 100-day minimum or penalties will be incurred, or how does that mechanic work?
Well, it's different from Hex in two ways. Number one, you cannot decide the length yourself. And number two, there is no emergency on stake. It's 100 stay and nothing. So if you stake, they are locked for 100 days. That's just a permanent thing. And you cannot unlock them and you cannot do it longer. But basically, when you reach the 100 days served, you are still staked. It's only a manual action that would unstake you. So when you reach the 100 days, it's like serving your time, and then you're in this super state where you receive rewards but can instantly unstake. So they are actually liquid, but they are earning rewards in the staking system.
Okay. And then I guess that's okay. Now that makes a little more sense why your community was touting, 61% staked, because that like shows early commitment from the get go. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, honestly, 61% staked of the total token supply. I think that's almost record breaking. I have never heard of any protocol within 4 days that had 60% of all tokens that would ever exist staked. Like, that is unprecedented, I think.
It's hard to say it's not impressive. I mean,
I agree.
You can now factually say a majority of your users within the first few days of launch committed to a 100-day lockup period. Now, okay, with the lockup period, actually, so you said that buy and so the buy and burn, the buy and distribute, that happens and the lottery subscription, that happens every 30 days rolling.
No, the airdrop happens every 30 days. The lottery is weekly, and the buy and burn is daily.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so then how would that calculate if 70% is going to a monthly thing, 20% is going to a daily thing, and 5% is going to a weekly thing? What is it basing the percentages off of if if they're different time horizons?
Well,
Daily volume?
it basically just resets a number in the code every time we do a buy and burn, and then we can check from that point on how much has been accumulated, and then we just take 5% from that again, or 20%, sorry. So it basically just every time you buy and burn, it just resets the accumulated amount, and then it knows exactly what 20% of the new accumulate from that point on is. Yeah, so that's how it works.
Okay. Okay. And then another thing you mentioned was there's a 1 to 5% fee, or it was a 1 to 5, 1 to 3. Okay, 1 to 3%. How is it calculated? Which percent? Like, what am I going to pay? How do I know
Yeah.
when I'm going to pay 1 or 3?
One token is 0.5% off. So imagine the fixed fee is 3%, okay? And for every one BNBP you hold, there's a 0.5% discount on the 3%. So if you have 100 tokens, that's a 50% discount on 3%, so it goes to 1.5. So the lowest percentage you would ever see is 1.5, and the highest percentage you would ever see is 3, because that's someone winning that doesn't hold BNBP.
I see. So I would need to hold 4,000 BNBP to get 1%?
It's not possible to get under 1.5% because the system stops reacting to it after 100. So if you have above 100 BNBP when you win, is the best rate you can possibly get. There's no difference in holding 500,000 tokens or 100. You will still get 1.5%.
So then the 1% fee never kicks in.
No, the lowest you can get is 1.5. And the reason why we did this is because it's important that all activity generates profits for the BNPP token. So yes, we included an option for you to reduce your fee payment by being a holder, but not so much that you could play feeless, because actually initially the tokenomics was designed to go from 0 to free, and it was actually made in a way where 100 was 100% off. So one BNBP would be 1% discount of the 3%. But I realized that simply what would happen is that way too many games would end up being feeless and therefore not provide any profits to the BNBP holders. So I would rather split this into where a maximum of 50% was achievable. So it still has some effect to BNBP holder, but it also still guarantees that all games provide value for the holders. Yeah.
Okay, so then it's not really a 1 to 3%, it's a 1.5 to 3%.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, Briss makes a good point. As a professional gambler, saving that 1.5% on every winning, I mean, come on, that adds up. I agree with that.
Well, it absolutely does. And actually, just to complement that, the other side of that 1.5 is 98.5% RTP for you as a gambler. And just right off my head, that is already record breaking in comparison to physical casinos. If you pull the numbers of any casino stats, you would see they are everything from 60 to 95 at max. Where this here you can get 98.5. It's literally the best RTP you'll get, and it's decentralized, and it's trustless, and it's a guaranteed payout. You get all the benefits and the better odds. So
Okay. All right. Couple more questions here. Max supply of the token, is it what was minted as a result of the sacrifice?
no, the max amount has always been defined as 1 million, and we were just waiting to sell out. So as you know, with almost all other sacrifice projects, the amount of dollars that go in defines the tokens that is minted. But we did it a little different. We said there's a max of 1 million, and whenever they are sold out, there will never be any more. So we have a buy and burn on a $1 million token where profits are coming from the outside in to buy and burn those 1 million. So that's obviously in crypto terms, very low amount of units.
Sure. Okay. So how much of the token supply was allocated to the sacrifice set?
800,000, 80%.
80%. Okay. And then you can speak to it or you don't have to. Is the rest retained by the team?
We have a team wallet of 10%. where with no expectations clause, obviously. And then we have a participation phase wallet with 10% as well. And this is a marketing strategy from our side where we basically, the first 3 months, is my estimate, we will pay out bonuses of 100,000 BNBP. So basically, all games will have an added bonus until that wallet is depleted. It's our way of doing some support, marketing support, and game support on the early days, because we basically drive people to gamble because they have a kind of a good deal, right? Not only do you get 98.5%, but you get added bonus value on top. So you're basically on an RTP of like 110%, completely revolutionary. Like nobody has ever given you a gambling game with 110% RTP, right? So for the first 3 months, all pots will literally have a positive RTP, simply because we allocated 10% of the supply to be paid out as a bonus to all of the early players or the early users of the platform. And the way that works is that we just, all jackpots will have one token attributed at the start, and for every $100 values, one more is chipped in. So so that's basically $30 value chipped in for every time someone put $100 in. We kind of top it up, right? So that's our way of marketing it on the early. And then we created a referral system where you can connect your wallet on the site, you can generate your custom URL, and you can share that with your friend. And if your friend wins a jackpot, you will earn 10% of what he wins. So basically, we are doing this marketing attempt where we would like to get people to become ambassadors by having the referral system, but also motivate people to play because there's a positive RTP for the first 3 months. So that's what we attributed 10% of the entire supply for that marketing effect, basically.
Okay, so that will eventually be completely distributed, and then there will be 90% in the hands of the holders and 10% in the hands of the team. No
Correct.
expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, my personal opinion, there's some cases where big team supplies are a little scarier than others. In a protocol like this, to me, the team supply doesn't feel that scary. Sure, the team could dump the token and hurt the price, but then that gives the holders who believe in the protocol a better opportunity to increase their position. So in this type of protocol, the team allocation isn't, to me personally, as scary as in other types of protocols. It's basically, like you said, if you're a company, it's your company revenue. And, you don't have to have a reflection token where you're dumping for marketing or development. You are earning revenue with your holders. So you're
Well,
also
actually,
encouraged.
we decided not to stake, so we wouldn't be earning any value.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah, but the reason why we don't stake is because that gives 10% more to everyone else.
Well,
Um,
then, oh, well, that's awesome.
yeah, and
For
the reason why we had to sacrifice no expectation was also to have third-party crypto to cover the cost. So we can pay devs, we can pay marketing with funds that won't hurt the price. So honestly, I have a hard time seeing any scenario where I would ever spend a single BNB in my entire life. We got more than $3 million in sacrifice. Like that's a significant amount of money, and it will take years to deplete that. And I don't really see any scenario where I need to sell BNBP. I would much rather just support what I built long term, right? So,
well, then the question inevitably becomes, why have it?
well, who knows? I might send it all to the burn address.
Fair enough.
But I think it makes sense to have it simply for the reason that that is kind of the developer's carrot on the stick, right? Where if the developers has no tokens in the project, would also seem kind of strange, right? Because then kind of how are they bound to improve it, right? Um, but if you don't care about the profit and therefore the native price of the token, then I see where you're coming from. Why not just burn it? But we might do a series of burn events. Who knows? But the value of the team wallet does not matter to me at all.
Fair enough. Appreciate you answering that. And then I guess, and again, I see your questions in chat. I appreciate you guys and girls dropping those questions. I will get to them. I'm just clearing through the few that I have, and then I will come back to chat and get to everybody. Also, Vets in Crypto, I dropped you the wrench. Thank you for volunteering. Appreciate you. So that brings me to a question that I hear a lot, not only from your project, but from other projects as well. Why don't we see your face?
Yeah, good question. First and foremost, because I live in Denmark. In Denmark, we have a lot of scrutiny against crypto and gambling in general. And I truly wanted to build this as decentralized and immutable as possible. That means that my identity will only become a weakness. My identity needs to be completely removed from it as fast as possible. There's absolutely zero value in having my identity. In fact, it would only be an attack surface for any government. Imagine you build a decentralized gambling protocol that they cannot control, they cannot get money out of, or they cannot, corrupt in any way. If they knew who I was, they would probably come searching for some sort of admin key, or they would somehow try to pressure me if it becomes the massive success I think it will be. So in my mind, my identity is nothing but a weakness, and I know that there will be investors that will be turned massively off by that, and I have accepted that that is simply the consequence of that decision. But to luckily for me, we were able to sell out the entirety of the tokens without me being doxxed, simply because the community noticed that what I promise, I deliver. What we build is unique, and all of our milestones we have hit exactly as we should. So I think the focus have kind of shifted from who am I to more to like this team is delivering as we expect, and every single investor over a sacrificer, sorry, 1721, I'm quite sure every single one of them is happy right now with their sacrifice. Like, I don't think one would do it, would change that, right? So my identity has just successfully become irrelevant simply because my word is trustable. People, they trust what I say and they trust my work. And to me that is worth, like, I'm really proud of that actually, because it's not easy to sell out or to have that amount of sacrifice funds and this kind of price action in a project where the liquidity is not locked and the founders are not doxxed. Like, that is almost like two red signals in itself, right? But we are just, we are just changing the game because we are a real team. We are a real team of devs. We know what we're doing. We know what we are capable of, and nobody's gonna stop us. So my identity is irrelevant, and hopefully nobody will ever figure it out, because that is a weakness, in my opinion, for the entire project.
Hey, I appreciate you being willing to approach that question. It's always a question I'm a little not hesitant, but nervous to ask because it inevitably just comes off as a fuddy question. No FUD was meant by that question. People have asked me. I feel like I have a duty to ask what people are curious about.
I have full respect for that question, because honestly, I would ask the same myself. If I'm investing a lot of money, obviously it gives some sort of sense of trust when you know the identity of the person you're dealing with. But in this case here, we managed to move that sense of trust from my identity to deliveries and products that are working. And just being transparent with the community. I think that has worked wonders for us generally, and at this point I basically am never asked about my identity anymore, because we are way past that now. But
Sure.
obviously, since we deployed on BSC, we have seen this entire new wave of people coming in, and now the focus is kind of coming up again, right? Because on BSC every second project gets rugged, so I can fully understand it.
Sure. Sure. And what's up, Kalen Black Hexagon? Good to see you. Yeah, and we're on BSC too, so I hear all the BSC stuff. And I mean, say what you want about Binance. Transaction fees are cheap. There's a strong community over there. Lots of volume.
Yeah, but they miss out on real projects, in my opinion. I was honestly slightly disappointed when I had to compose the list of whitelisted tokens we had to do. I had to sort 90% of them away because they
Hmm.
were tax tokens. And tax tokens, they won't really work in our system because if you have $100 and you enter the pot, now it's 90. And then when the pot runs and someone wins, now it's 81. I cannot construct a system where a tax token can function inside of the gambling. So I was a little bit disappointed in the BNB chain, to be honest, because the lack of real good projects there is just astonishing. Like, we are talking meme coins and tax tokens, 90% of it, and that is disappointing from a point of a real developer, honestly.
Sure. And I mean, yes, I hear you and I agree because it could be so much better. But that's where the scammers like to go because you go on Ethereum and it costs $1,000 to create a liquidity pool and it costs $2,000 to launch your contract. Well, your everyday scammer's not over there doing that. And that's actually one of the things about Pulse Chain that we may see as well. It's going to be more similar to Binance in terms of probably the people that we attract early on, or maybe even over time, because they're going to be able to go over there and do the same things for cheap fees. They're, we're going to see all types of reflection tokens, scam projects pop up on Pulse Chain, in my opinion.
We already did. Like,
We already do. You're right.
half of the 120 projects launching are freaking scams and meme coins and tax tokens. Like, I went through the Pulse Chain list and I was equally disappointed. Like, honestly, there's actually not that many projects that are unique. Like, it's either one of three: meme coin, fork, or a tax token. That's what you're going to see 98% of all projects. And they disappoint me. As a real developer, when I see someone create the eighth meme coin in a row with a different dog name, I get disappointed. I get sad, honestly. Like, I want to build real DeFi. I don't want to take a token template, spend 8 minutes deploying it, and putting on a logo from Fiverr. That's just, yeah, I can't stand it, honestly.
I hear you completely. It's totally fair. As someone who is also building what we believe to be true DeFi, I I hear you on that sentiment. Well, and
Yeah.
that okay, here's the last I mean, I do have some more questions that are kind of like in the nitty-gritty, but we're already at an hour. I see a bunch of questions. So, my final question before I hit the chat is this. I believe decentralization to be a spectrum. I don't even know if true decentralization is attainable. In every ecosystem, there seems to be at least one centralized point. My question for you is, where is your point of centralization?
It's probably the node service provider or the front end, I would say. Simply because if our front end disappears, yes, the contracts are immutable and they will run just as expected. But who is going to go to Etherscan and run functions to play games, right? Simply not
Sure.
going to happen. So even though everything I build is with the one sole focus of being decentralized and immutable, and so that I can guarantee that I can remove myself completely, and every single investor would not be worried about that all of the games would continue to run. But with that said, my front end needs a domain, my front end needs a hosting. I have a node subscription for the chain we're running, right? So there are different measures you can take to try and decentralize that. For instance, IPFS hosting, for instance, unstoppable domains and stuff like that. But that just kind of complicates the complexity you can do of a web app. But it is something we're going to research more so we can decentralize not only the operation of the games, but also the visual experience of the games. Because it's the same with Hex, right? But at this point, the community have just built so many Hex front ends that even if Hex.com dies tomorrow forever, it wouldn't really matter that much, I don't think.
Sure.
But in the beginning, obviously it would, right? Until we had these different front ends interacting with it. So our most centralized aspect is either the whitelist of the tokens, because that's required an admin key, or it is probably the node service provider, the domain, and the front end. But we will open source the front end in due time, so anyone can fork it, put it up on a domain, and off we go. Like get a node service subscription, set it up, and off we go. All functions are publicly callable. Yes, we do have a server that is basically calling a series of public function in a timely manner that makes everything work like a smooth engine, right? But all of those functions are public. So it's just a timing aspect. This means that even if our front end goes away and all of our servers, everything would in theory be able to function perfectly, but you would need to set it up, right? You have access to do it, but you would just need to do it, and that is not easy. So I'm thinking about how we can decentralize the front end more so that it's if something happens to me or my hosting or whatever, then there's something else, someone else would just be able to take right over. And with that said, actually anyone is able to build a front end for this. So you can build a front end for this, and for let's say a Russian audience or whatever, or African audience, and you can design it the way you want because my design is maybe not good enough or whatever, and then it will just utilize the contracts and send all of that value back to the token contract. Yeah.
And I appreciate you speaking to that. And I got to say, I appreciate the way you articulate yourself. I think you're a very articulated individual. I think you're very intelligent. And I appreciate you being so transparent with all of your answers.
Thank you, brother. Right back at you. I have seen some of your content. You're no different, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate that, truly. All right, let's jump into some of these questions here. If you have more time, I want to respect your time.
I have all the time you need.
Okay. So I'm going to let you answer this question. So after that 10% is airdrop, there will be no more staking for BNBP. Then we do it all over again when the next chain is deployed?
Right. No, that is wrong. The 10% is simply just a short-term bonus to motivate people to come and try out the platform. When that 10% extra bonus is removed, then we have a large set of players who enjoy using our platform, and they will return and they will continue to play. And all of the stakers will still get airdropped every 30 days, that value from all of the games. So this entire thing here is dependent on one thing, and it is volume in the games, because the volume is what creates the fees that is basically driving the entire value proposition of the BNBP token.
Okay. And that actually raised another question. Is there like a house edge, or is every game played against another player?
Beautiful question. That's why we are here. We do not want to be the house. We will never be the house. In fact, you cannot place a bet against us. You will always place a bet against someone else. All games we build are PvP, player versus player.
Wow, that's cool. That's
So when
cool.
you win, someone is losing, and that's why the money is guaranteed. It's really a different way of doing it. So, and that's leads me to the next question I maybe already be able to answer, is that obviously some game types are more suited for direct player interaction, and a good example would be, for instance, a roulette table, right? What happens if you put $1,000 on number one, and it actually is number one? Who just lost the 36,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you have player versus player, you need someone to take kind of the opposite side of whatever you are trying to win, right?
Someone's
So
got
the
to
way
lose.
someone's got to lose, because it's not going to be us. We have no money in the game. We are just accumulating 3% from all the action. So the way we solved that was basically by doing which I consider revolutionary innovation in the NFT, is that we created something called the NFT gamers key. So if you own an NFT roulette table, basically having that NFT in your wallet gives you access to a liquidity pool. And that liquidity pool sits behind a game contract. So imagine we have a game contract that spits out a number from 0 to 36. Someone bets, they make a bet, they put in money, the game contract spits out a number. Did they win or did they lose, right? The game contracts then goes in and takes value from the liquidity pool or puts value into the liquidity pool, right? It's either one of the two. Either it takes it out and pay the player, or it puts the money into the liquidity pool. That liquidity pool can only be accessed by two things. One, the game contract, and two, the wallet that holds the key in the moment. This means that you can basically own a digital roulette table by having that NFT in your wallet, and you can list it for sale on OpenSea.
Oh my
You can
gosh.
you can literally sell your roulette table, and you can fund it. The only thing is you need to provide liquidity that can honor the max bid, because no player can make a bet on the game unless the liquidity in the pool can honor whatever the player's max possible win is. So if you, let's say you have $40,000 in liquidity, right? Then yes, someone is able to place a $1 bet on number one, because if that is the case of the result, you will get $36,000 paid back. A roulette gives you 36x on hitting a direct number. So the way that works is if that liquidity was lower, the max bet would automatically adjust downwards until there was enough liquidity to honor a possible max win, right? So there's never a scenario where anyone making a bet will not be paid, and whoever owns the NFT key can pull out the liquidity or add more liquidity at their own demand and their own wish at any time they feel. So let's say someone lost all of the liquidity because some guy was extremely lucky, right? Either they have two options. A, they put in more liquidity to win back that money, because you have a 3% edge in a roulette. Like theoretically, everyone who places a bet, you will win 3% of each bet, right? That's how the math works. But if you are out of funds and you cannot fill up the liquidity, well, now you can list it for sale on OpenSea and get a market value paid back for it. So not only is the NFT earning you money, it also has a native value in itself. And actually, someone bought one of our NFTs for 25.7 ETH, sold it 2 weeks later for 38 Ethereum. So
Jeez.
even before the game started, they are appreciating in value because they are so limited in supply. We only make a certain set of NFTs per chain. We did this with fortune wheels as well. In the fortune wheel NFT, you have a 1,000 multiplier upside. That means if you bet $1, you can potentially win $1,000. So anyone who owns that NFT would basically have to put in 1,000x liquidity of what the max bet is possible to be. I know it sounds a little advanced, but it is, because it's completely unique. Nobody have done this before, but we have done it. We have auctioned off all of the NFTs. Code is done, front end is done, everything is ready to go. So it is beautiful.
So if you, I see, I have so many questions now. So if you launch a new game, that game is going to be backed by one NFT, and that person, or is it always one NFT per game?
Depends on what game type it is, because some games you can do directly PvP without having the liquidity
I
pool.
see. I
But
see.
other game types such as slots, roulettes, fortune wheels, they kind of require a liquidity pool behind it, kind of acting as the house basically. But what we are doing here is that we are decentralizing the house into many small wallets or many individuals, right? So instead of having one big casino boss owner in Las Vegas, you end up having a casino where there's 1 million different possible owners, but also inside of the games, you have different owners per game. And you will see when you open the roulette, you can see exactly what wallet owns this roulette. You can see exactly how much liquidity is put in. You can see exactly how much the max bet is. All of that is just transparent, visible immediately.
So is it like there's roulette table ABC and each one has an NFT, or is it roulette table, that's it, and there's NFT ABC for that table?
Good question. It is the secondary. Actually, I'm not fully decided on how we do the entrance to it, but it can be done in both ways, because basically the NFT gives access to a certain token type. This means that you can bet 10 different tokens on the roulette, but
Oh,
based on what token you spend is basically the different owner you are playing against. So one NFT might be the Hex NFT, and that's the guy managing all of the Hex liquidity in the contract.
wow.
Yeah.
See, that becomes bullish. Like that becomes a play on the NFT because if you believe in, for example, the hex being bet and used for the game, then that NFT is going to have intrinsically more value because it's going to generate more revenue. Well, there might be some small token over here, so that NFT may not be worth as much because that token's not being used as much. Would that be accurate?
Absolutely. I would say the more holders and the more activity there are on the native token, the price should reflect that. And I think it did. We auctioned off worth roughly 180 Ethereum of NFTs. And the most expensive one in the initial auction was 25.7 ETH, and that was the PLS roulette. So, so
That's cool.
someone really wanted that one, right?
So are they just going to get that dropped to them when Pulse Chain launches type thing?
Yep. Airdrop straight to them, just as the same as their native tokens. So
Wow.
they can actually own the casino in two different ways. You can both own the casino as a whole, but you can also have ownership of individual games inside of the casino. And the casino owner pays a small fee of the profit only. So every 24 hours, the system checks, is this casino owner in a profit or a deficit? If he's in a profit, we deduct 3% of the profit and buy and burn BNBP. So all games will contribute to the buy and burn of the native token no matter what.
Wow.
It is revolutionary. Obviously, I'm totally subjective and I'm totally biased, but I just cannot see how this cannot be how real NFTs are supposed to be, right?
No, I mean, this is obviously there's a lot here. And I feel like even though we're deep diving a little bit, I still feel like we're just scratching the surface. We haven't even really deep dove into game theory. You have like a buy and burn in 3 different places, I think I counted now. I mean, there's a lot going on here. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
but in a good way, in a good way. Um,
Hopefully.
yeah, I mean, all right, this is the deepest I've dove into the project. And as of right now, the tokenomics seem pretty good.
Thank you
So
very much. That is the general sentiment we have heard from everyone. I have never heard anyone tell me that's bad tokenomics. Like literally not a single person has told me that. Quite the contrary, honestly.
see, I truly believe that every blessing is curse free, and vice versa. Every curse is blessing free. There's, like yin and yang, right? There's give and take everywhere. So, what I try to do, what I'm trying to do right now, is I'm trying to find out, okay, there's got to be some negative in the tokenomic. There has to be because no system is perfect. It can't be because humans aren't perfect and humans create these systems. So, by nature of us being imperfect, we create imperfect systems, in my opinion. So I'm trying. I haven't found it yet. I'll be honest, but I'm trying to find it.
Yeah. Well, I think that history has proven that adult people with money want to take a chance now and then. The statistics are simply incredible. Like it or not, that's just the facts I'm stating. The numbers in gambling are absolutely astonishing, and they are rising every single year. If we believe that DeFi and crypto is going to amount to something big, obviously creating something that has real market fit, that addresses a massive amount of money being spent on it, and improves the security and operation in itself, I think that, in my opinion, that's a pretty good project to be in on, right? So, uh, not to because obviously I'm subjective, but I just see that you know this project here solves real life problems, and if crypto becomes what we all hope it's going to be, then obviously gambling will also be a part of that. That is cannot be stopped. So we are just trying to get our bit in on how true decentralized gambling will look in the future or now.
Okay, that's fair. And I think, okay, I guess the point of failure, I suppose, for the tokenomics would be, obviously you got to have volume and people playing.
Yeah.
So you could have all these amazing buy and burns.
Players is obviously equal failure, like with
Right.
any business in the world.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Okay. So then that obviously leads, and I'm not going to ask you this question, but I know people probably have these questions like, what's the marketing? Well, I mean, I'll ask you, do you have a marketing plan? Anything you care to share? What's the,
Well, I guess we're doing
yeah,
marketing right now, right?
fair
I have
enough.
I'm launching in 5 days, and I could use I could be coding right now, right? But um, no. On serious note, that we did receive some really good backing during the sacrifice phase, and to me, it would seem strange if we wouldn't put that to good use, right? We have already, in less than 4 days, managed to list on every single relevant coin ranking site in 4 days. So to me, that shows that not only are we building DeFi, we are also taking the necessary marketing steps around it to become a successful token. So we are visible where we need to be visible, but also the product works on a ground level, right? We are doing giveaways. We have probably done the most and best giveaways of any project in entire Pulse chain ecosystem. Like, we have given away 250,000 hex. We have given away 200,000 hex. We have given away a billion hedron. We have given away so much money, I have lost count of it. I am probably giving away at this point more than $200,000. So that's obviously also marketing in itself, right? So yes, it is a focus of ours, but with no expectations clause, I cannot give you any, definitives, right?
Sure. Of course. Of course. And that's even a question. I, as a project founder, get that question all the time. And I understand the implications of that question. So that's why I started asking. Then I was like, I'm not going to ask. And then I was like, all right, whatever. I'm already asking. So no,
The classic one.
no, I appreciate that. And, that is something interesting that we noticed in our sacrifice phase as well. And I don't know exactly how many wallets do you know sacrifice to your sacrifice phase?
Yes, 1721.
1721. You can consider those as ambassadors of the brand. So right
Well,
there, you already have 1,721 salespeople, boots on the ground, ready to push this thing because they have a financial interest to do so.
absolutely. And we are taking a page out of Richard Hart's book here and basically putting the responsibility back onto the individual token holder. And that's also why we built the referral system, so that not only are you benefiting your own bag, but you can also earn more tokens by becoming an ambassador, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Now, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm just going to go back to my questions. So we have these airdrops being paid. Where's the gas fee? Who's paying the gas to move 10, 20, 30 tokens to all these wallets?
The protocol itself is, so before the airdrop happens, it reserves the amount it needs to perform the action. So let's say we accumulated $100,000, it will take maybe $100 of those before we airdrop the rest, so that we can secure the operation. Yeah, that was actually a big focus of mine, was making sure that gas will never become a problem in this project, because obviously doing an airdrop, we were considering only having a buy and burn, because A, it's cheaper, and B, it's more simple in that way, and does actually have almost the same benefits. But we've thought that the airdrop argument was kind of marketing wise significantly more powerful, that you could just lean back, have your wallet open, and every week or every 30 days, tokens would just dump into your wallet, right? I think that's kind of a powerful thing. So I wanted to sustain that, and the way we solved that was basically just, we take a small part of the total value that's going to be airdrop, and just 10 seconds before that, we reserve that for the gas fees, and then it does the airdrop. And then if we reserve too much, it just goes into the pool for the next month, and then it becomes a part of that. So that's how we guarantee that the protocol can always perform the actions it's supposed to do.
So if it reserves those tokens, it then has to swap them into the gas token.
Yes. Yes, in case of BNB or PLS, it will swap for that before it swaps for BNBP or PLSP. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, because okay, I see. So if, for example, we are playing with internet money, there's internet money reserved or that was collected by the fees being taken from the winners. That internet money then gets swapped into BNB. Then that BNB gets swapped into BNBP with the reservation of what it's going to take to distribute that.
Correct, because not all tokens will have a direct pair with BNBP, so we're just moving everything through the main pair.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chrisology wants to know, does Jacob have any plans on making a dice game table?
No, not currently. Well, that doesn't mean that we won't do it, but currently I have nothing like that on my to-do list.
Okay. Now, Mr. SOG, not a price prediction, but does Jacob think this token can hit 5 figures?
I honestly I don't want to answer questions like that. It makes really no sense to ask the guy who founded it if he thinks it will go up in price, right? I think there's no real value in me answering that question.
Look, Jacob thinks this is going to at least $100 million a token. So, no, I'm just kidding. That's totally it. I'm not not putting. I'm just kidding.
Financial advice from brother KG.
No, it's fair. It's a question you can't really ask
Yeah.
the founder of a project. There's a lot of implications there.
Yeah, I don't think Richard has ever asked or predicted the price of Hex, either, right? For the same reasons.
Yep, exactly. When decentralized poker?
Yeah, I get this a lot, and it's obviously a very popular skill game because poker is significantly more skill based than almost any other gambling type. So it also a popular game, and I know that. But blockchain is slow, it's hard, and it's difficult, and it's a lot of action, and it's a lot of signing, and it's a lot of approving. And imagine you have a poker game where 7 people is doing actions constantly in a fluid manner. It's just extremely difficult to make 100% decentralized. You could probably make it like half and half pretty easily, but doing it the way I want to do things, where everything is trusted and 100% decentralized, I realized that poker is kind of like the final raid boss to solve. And at this point, I have not even started to dive into it because it's just so complex to do. Yeah.
Final raid boss. I like that. Yeah, I get that analogy completely. Yeah, and so that actually brings up another question. So every time I place a bet, I'm signing a transaction.
You have two options, either just the way as you do when you do a swap on Uniswap, right? You approve the spend, or you can approve unlimited, and then that just saves you one click every time. Or you can just send directly to the token contract. You can literally just copy the address, open your MetaMask, and do a completely normal send transaction, and it would work in the entire same way. That's a security feature that we developed. So you never need to connect your wallet to ours, to our website to be able to gamble. You can just do send transactions, and if you win, boom, you'll receive it back immediately.
Can you just say that? What do you mean I can do a send transaction?
So if you had to send your mother 100 USDC, you do that just by inputting her wallet address and click send, right?
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Here you can participate in the games by doing exactly that. And that is the highest security possible. Because if, yes, obviously you can lose the money you're sending, but that is like the maximum risk you are running, right? So it's a security feature that we are offering people so that they can initially, if they don't have trust in our platform initially, they can at least enjoy it by just doing send transaction and they know that nothing can ever happen.
No, that's great. That's actually really cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and that was something that was very important to me because the reason why I built that was because initially we were launching on Postchain, and the argument was that imagine 600 thousand wallets are migrating over from ETH to Postchain, right? These guys are not going to connect their wallet to shit, you know. They are not going to run a risk to get $8 of forked coins. Let's be
Right.
real, right? So what I realized is that, okay, what if I can give all of these people who are just trying out Pulse for fun, right? If I can give them a platform where they can gamble for free with airdrop coins and run 0.0% risk of doing it, like, how can it become any better, right? That is where we market Pulse. People will try it, they will gamble, they will realize how awesome 3 second block times is, they will realize how awesome zero gas fees is, right? So it becomes this marketing tool simply because we built these security features and we built an ability to gamble with any token. So all of the forked wallets will have a cool game to play with only upside, no downside, no security implications at all. And if they win big, they can end up swapping it out and bridging it back to ETH. Perfect use case scenario for everyone.
I see. And no, that is a smart take on that as well. You're right, because I personally am not connecting a wallet for $8 of anything. You know,
Exactly.
there's got to be a reason to go. And well, I guess unless you believe in the project and you're like, oh man, $8, great. If you don't see the immediate value, if you're looking at it for the
Yeah.
long term value, sure. But you're
But
right.
then imagine that you can see that the pots are going for like $1,000 to $8,000 every 5 minutes, and here you have $8 worth of random forked tokens, right?
I
You
see.
could
I see what
input
you're
all
saying.
of those massive upside with absolutely zero risk because we support the Zen transaction. I personally believe that that would give anyone on ETH kind of a cool thing to try out over at Postchain, no matter what.
Fair enough. Yeah. And so I see people asking questions about the sacrifice. Now it is finished, and that one sacrifice got you a sacrifice for. Oh, here we go. Got you You got points or tokens on 5 chains. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Well, we actually there's no expectation clause on the chains because I don't want to be forced to launch on anything.
Sure.
But it would seem natural that we would deploy on all EVM compatible chains because why not spend 20 minutes doing that, right? We already built the project. So,
Sure.
yeah. So as
Sure.
long I'm just going to order them by volume and amount of transactions and adoption. So whatever comes after Postchain and BSC would probably be the one with the most adoption, and I'm expecting that to be Polygon at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because I think Polygon has more volume and transactions than AVAX and FTM. It's just my stomach feeling.
Sure.
But the number will speak for themselves when we are going to do it, obviously, and then we're just going to take it in that natural row. But yes, that is the plan. We are a multi-chain project, and right now that is benefiting all of the sacrifices because a lot of other projects, like you are, or as you know, completely dependent on what happens with Pulse Chain. And currently, we have no idea if it's 23 or 24 or whenever it's going to be. 22,
Sure.
maybe 14 days, right? So,
Sure. 2 more weeks. Right. 2 more weeks
yeah,
at least.
yeah.
So no, I hear that. And that is a positive for me with, okay. So what's the official, like, do you have an overarching brand name? Are you like, or is it just PulsePot, BNB, you know?
That is such a good question, Matt, because I have struggled with that myself so much. Like I really wanted to have a universal name and universal website and all of that, and then have it all split out based on per chain because each ecosystem is really kind of its own, you know. And you are absolutely right. We should have some sort of centralized name brand. For instance, am I going to run 5 Twitters and 5 Telegram channels?
You
It,
can't.
it can be. Yeah, you're not even allowed to have more than one, as far as I know. So we have already been banned from Twitter once. So I am, I'm going steady over there. I basically I'm worried to do any giveaways anymore because last time I did a $10,000 giveaway on Twitter, I was banned like 5 hours later.
I
Lost
see.
all of our followers, 2,500 followers. So yeah,
Ouch. I'm
yeah,
sorry
we
to hear
we
that.
yeah, me too. It's that sucks. But we have Telegram and that's our main place. But it's a good question, and at some point I think we will do a centralized thing, because it's also cool to see the action of each casino in one centralized place. So basically, you can jump around wherever the volume is. Let's say you're on a centralized page and it says, "Wow, there's an $8,000 pot on Pulse Chain going on right now. Go and join that one," right? Or on BNB, there's like a 20K pot right now, so you can jump between them and participate wherever the volume is, right? So we will do something, but I haven't prioritized it well enough. So it's a super good question, honestly.
Sure. I look. I'll put my brain to the test. I'm pretty clever when it comes to names. If I come up with something, I'll shoot it your way. You don't even have to give me credit. I just like I just like
I,
trying.
I would love to receive some good suggestions, because I have really, like, I think the closest I've come is like chain pots, or
Hmm.
and even the pot is actually something that I'm considering to phase out, because initially we had the jackpot, right? But it has grown to roulette, fortune wheel, sports betting, price calls, decentralized price calls, and the term pot does not really cover that anymore, right? So we might consider like a total name change at some point, but at the same time, I'm just it's difficult, it is difficult, because we have been doing it this way now for 8 months, and everyone relates to the pod name. So maybe we might just continue with it, but all of your suggestions are more than welcome. Thank
Sure. I see you got a community name, the Potheads.
you. Well, I guess the hopefully the future rich potheads.
Yeah, exactly. Brazology says, has Jacob studied the volume on other gambling games? What kind of volume he does he seeing these tables get? He thinks.
Um, yes and no. I have studied kind of how the proportion or the distribution falls in Las Vegas physical. I know that slot machines account for more than 60% of all volume in the casino in Vegas. And table games kind of take up the rest in combination. Um, but for instance, the jackpot is kind of a game you don't really see anywhere, right? Like, where do you see a physical game that resembles the jackpot? The best, I don't really know if that exists actually. Like, where the amount of money you put in completely determines your chance of winning versus other players, right? I don't think that exists in physical world actually. So I don't know if that how much volume a game type like that would have. But with that said, 5 years ago, there was in Counter Strike a game. They had a lot of skins with a lot of value. Actually, this jackpot game was going absolutely crazy, and there was more than 50 different websites where you could play this jackpot game, where you submitted your in-game skins that had real value, and they would literally go for there would be hundreds of thousands of dollars in each pot every 5 minutes. So the volume can be everything from $20 a pot average to $20,000 of pot of average. I have absolutely no idea.
Sure. All right. Pepe says the only option is purchasing from liquidity providers at the moment, or still has to wait for full launch. I believe he or she is referring to the actual BNBP token.
The sacrifice is over, so the only way you can get this is by buying it on the market or winning it in a game. That's the only two ways to go about it. Yeah,
Okay. Or joining bullish OX's up to $1,000 or sorry,
that is true.
1,000 token BNBP giveaway stream. I was trying to find it.
Yeah, that's right now like $14,000, so that's pretty good.
Not a bad giveaway.
Not a bad giveaway. So there are multiple ways of going about it, but the easiest part would be just buying, because right now, let me check. I think the premium of buying is roughly 200 and just going onto the site, we have the swap function on the site where you can see it. Premium right now is 239%. So if you buy it at $12.5, when we open in 5 days, you can bet it at $30. So that's a 240% premium if you buy
Wow.
it now. Yeah, so you can make your own decision if that makes sense or not to do it now, or if you want to wait until it's $30 value on the game. I suspect it will go up in price the closer we get to launch.
So so does the $30 premium, does it in any way, shape, or form somehow mess with the number, like the percentages that are being paid out towards the buy and burn? I mean, does it throw off those calculations? Like if I bet one BNBP that's actually worth $10, but I get $30 of value, I win. Is it taking the percentage based off of $30 off of 10? I mean, does that come into play anywhere?
Um, yeah, so when you win a pot and there's BNBP in it, and if the market price is 10, you win it as if it was 30 in the game. So that $30 resembles that value in the game. So yes, you would be more inclined to keep it or rebet that rather than sell it, because if you go to the market and sell it, you would only get $10 for it. But if you use it to gamble on further, you would get $30 for it. So it's a mechanic that kind of motivates you to sell everything else you win and keep the BNBP token for rebetting.
Got you. Okay. So now, but if I'm betting in the BNBP pool, then okay, I'm winning more BNB because it's the pools are token specific.
Yeah, that's the NFT games you're talking about, yeah. But imagine it's the jackpot game, right? You could have hundreds of different tokens submitted. But we track the prices from the decks every 5 minutes. So if you put in, let's say we're on Postchain now, just for reference. If you put in PLS, PLSX, Hex, Mintra, IM, Fiat, whatever you want to put in, the value is 1-to-1 with the DEX. So imagine that BNBP is only $15 on the market. If you take BNBP and you enter into the pot, and someone else takes PLS, they would be winning your BNBP, but it only has a market value of 15. But you are basically getting a game chance as if it was worth 30. So you are playing with an inflated value against something that has the 1-to-1 value. So when you are betting with BNBP, you are all upside as long as the market is under the 30, right? So that's kind of the game theory behind that.
Okay. Okay.
And the good question to follow up here with would be, but why would people then bet with other crypto if they're betting against someone playing with inflated value?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and that is a good question. But what I think will happen is either A or B. People will gamble no matter what. So they are put into the position of two choices. Will they play with their native value, or will they swap that native value into BNBP to play? Right? That's positive buy pressure on our token again. So there's
I
just
see
so
what you're
much, yeah. There's just
saying.
so many technicalities that has gone into actually pumping the price of the native token. It's crazy. Like everything we have done has been with the attempt to design this to pump as hard as possible. It's like that is literally the truth.
Fair enough. Okay. And as far as the name, it seems like people are really liking the pot. Just throwing out a suggestion. You don't have to give me feedback right now. But because this is owned in a decentralized manner, literally by the people that participate in the system, what about calling it People's Pot or the People's Pot or something like that? Yeah, it's, I
That
don't know.
that sounds like a weed business in Colorado.
People's Pot, baby.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun.
Honestly, I think the pot is probably what has to go because we are more than a jackpot, and in the future we will probably have 10, 15, 20 games. So it's kind of limiting in that sense. But yeah, all suggestions are welcome. Names is always extremely difficult. Like they seem wrong in the start, and then they end up being like it couldn't have been anything else, right? So
Sure.
yeah, names. I hate names honestly, and it's just so difficult. But any suggestions are more than welcome. Currently, we're not in a rush to change it, but it is something that is on my mind. Yeah.
Cool. Now, at least you're open to it and you recognize it and you're listening to your community. That's really cool. and something I appreciate from a fellow founder. Uh,
Thank you, sir.
Ruskino says, faucet question. Has it finished? Is it not live yet? It's like a ghost button on the site.
Yeah, that is very true, Ruskino. So what happened is that we provided 10 BNB to the faucet, and as with unfortunately many things here in life, we cannot have nice things, right? We build a faucet where you just paste in your wallet and click claim, nothing else. No captcha, no social media posting, no nothing. Paste, claim, done, right? Problem was that someone decided to build a script that generated a new ETH wallet, requested from the faucet, and collected it back to the main wallet. So we saw that like we paid out 900 transactions in less than 48 hours, and it just completely depleted the entire faucet for all the real people. So that sucked pretty hard. I should have taken it more seriously. I didn't think that people would care so much about requesting $3, but apparently they did. So now what I'm doing is I'm refilling the faucet with 10 more BNB, and I made a upgrade to the code where it looks if you have 5 BNBP in your wallet. So if you don't own BNBP, you cannot request it. So I think that little change will probably remove the incentive for anyone to write a script, because they would have to buy 5 BNBP to actually request it, right? So that way, it the reason why we even have a faucet was to help people stake their coins without having to bridge in BNB or whatever value they or how they would do it, right? So that was the idea, but it failed because of cheating people. But now I'm upgrading it and I'm relaunching it, and I will let you know in the chat when it's ready to go.
Perfect. And about the games. Oh, and it's funny. Chad, he or she came up with the same name I did. They said it first, so if anyone's getting credit, it's them. I didn't see that at the time, but great minds think alike. I also kind of like My Casino or like People's Casino, something. Again, we're not going to come up with the answer here, just brainstorming.
Yeah,
So,
I'll take in all impressions.
so the game's launching. I had your site pulled up. Oh, games are launching in 5 days. You said.
5 days and 3 hours. Yeah.
What are people going? Okay, so we're gonna have when the when the site goes live, we're gonna have jackpot, roulette, fortune wheel,
No,
sports.
we will start with one game and we will slowly drip more games in. We're not gonna just push everything. One game
Gotcha.
at a time, and then we will have more natural growth. Yeah, so probably a month between is my best get. Maybe a bit less.
Oh, I see. Okay, so the jackpot itself has the countdown. Or so which game is coming out first? Can you say that?
The jackpot, yeah, that's the one we ran for. We ran 25,000 successful jackpots on testnet where people was entering constantly. Um, So that's the game that is most advanced in its state and security and function. So that's the one that's up first, yeah. But
Fair,
honestly, in my opinion, one of the greatest games as well,
fair enough.
because there's so much game theory behind it. Like, imagine there's a $3,000 pot. You can literally put in 100K with 10 seconds left, and now you have 98% of winning it, right? And that's exactly what we saw happening previously in history with this kind of game. So it also, when you have this direct player versus player scenario, it kind of adds an extra game element. You're not winning money from this big house that nobody knows with no face. You're actually taking money from someone else. And from what I have seen, streamers and YouTubers, they make a lot of content off of that, so they can sit there all day and have fun of winning and losing to other people and make like YouTube videos or streams or whatever based on that.
So playing the jackpot, could you walk me through? I'm gonna play that game for the first time. What does that look like?
Yes, I could. It looks like a 5 minute countdown, and anybody can enter any value size in those 5 minutes. So if the first person enters, let's say $5, they will have 100% chance of winning. The next person enters, and let's say they put the equal amount in $5 in. Now both people have 50% chance of winning. and then it just continues like that. So there could be 500 people in the same pot,
I
but
see.
all of them will have a variable amount of value, and your chance of winning is directly related to how much value you put in. So whoever has the majority of the value or most the value put in will be the person with the highest chance of winning. But as you also know that that does not equal the fact that you win. So during those 25,000 test runs, we actually had a guy who won like $100,000 with 0.4% chance or something. It was mad
Mm.
crazy. So probably that's a pretty good day for him, right? Put in like $8 and won 100K or something. It's crazy.
Okay, so and when I put into this pot, this jackpot, I can put in any token, and if I win, I'm winning every token, or I'm going to get paid back in BNBP.
You win whatever's in the pot.
Wow,
The swap conversion only happens when the airdrop after 30 days from the
gotcha.
accumulated fees. Yeah. So that's why it's a kind of a cool effect that you put in. Let's say you bet hex, but you win. You can possibly win a massive bag of PLS, Hex, PLSX, like Mintra, 8 different tokens, right? You win a big candy bag of tokens. And that's also why I think that this can bring some adoption and exposure, because some people will receive tokens they would never have bought themselves. That's just a fact. And now they might hold them or might consider investing more or might research it, right?
So, okay, so two questions there. You're obviously going to have some awesome price aggregation to be able to get the prices of all these tokens. So, are you going to use a service like Dex Screener? Are you going to
No, we do a lookup on all liquidity pools on chain every five
Okay.
minutes. Yeah.
Okay. And so this pot is running every 5 minutes. So you have a new winner every 5 minutes.
No, the pot only starts when there's two unique addresses in it.
I see.
So you could have a scenario where someone put in $100, but nobody is joining as the second person for half an hour, maybe.
I see.
So they
So
would just be idle there until the second player comes. Yeah.
and then the second player comes, the 5 minute starts.
Yeah.
Someone okay. So then okay, going back to my gas question earlier, if let's say there's 10 tokens there, you're not converting in this scenario. Where's the gas coming from? Because that's going to be 10 different transactions, right? You can't send all the
No,
different
no,
tokens in one transaction.
yes, we can. We are
You
doing
can.
bulk. Yeah, we are doing bulk send transactions to the winner, no problem.
Beautiful.
Yes,
Beautiful.
and the gas is, especially on these chains here, it's not even worth mentioning. Almost, only on Ethereum it's worth mentioning, because one token transaction can be $20 at the worst times, and that would completely cripple the entire system. But on
Sure.
Postchain and BSC, it's nothing of concern.
Beautiful. Okay, so you're just going to batch send multiple tokens in one transaction.
The second that counter and it spins, the wheel spins, and if it lands on the allocation you have, like the front end will show you how big a size of the wheel you have based on the money you send in. It spins, and wherever it lands, that person, the second it lands there, the same second all of the tokens are in your wallet.
Wow. Or I guess as long
Imme-
as it takes the block to process.
yeah, 3 seconds, right? So and the wheel publishes the transaction URL, so you can immediately click it, watch on the block explorer that everything was sent, and the 3% or 1.5% was taken into the contract
Okay.
before sending. Yeah, and that
What?
is honestly powerful. That just the fact that this, it goes in and out of your wallet every bit, I think it is undervalued. It's extremely powerful. Instead of having this account somewhere where you have to deposit and withdraw, you instead have this fluid scenario where it's all the time going in and out of your wallet. I think that's extremely powerful and undervalued.
Okay, so that's where okay, so you're doing 1.5% on the total pot or on each
Uh,
individual token in the pot value.
we are taking the 1.5% from the highest value token in the pot from the winner.
Gotcha.
So if internet money was the collectively highest value, then that's where we take it from.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Um, so, and only the winner pays the fee. Yeah.
Okay. Understood. And we have some more. People are still talking about the name. We have, let's see, Decentrabet and Money Pot. And
Yeah.
then Black Hexagon says, all right, Decentrabet is pretty cool, but so is Money Pot. And then someone else said PvP bets, and Bullish said PvP bets is fire.
Yeah.
Oh, Galen 100. That's hot. Benny Blanco.
I had someone suggesting chain bets as well.
Chain what? Sorry.
Chain bets.
Chain bets.
There's many options, yeah, but domains are generally hard to get these days because it seems like everyone is just buying anything that makes remotely sense, right? So, yeah,
Oh, this is an interesting concept too. PSI says, imagine some whale of a project wants to generate marketing for their project. So they send a bunch to the pot and tweet about it on or stream it live, right? I could see that. I could see that. They go in, hey, I just put $1 million in the pot. Tweet goes out. It could very well generate. Or yeah, you're right. They could build up to a live stream. I could definitely see that.
yeah. Come take it if you dare, and
Exactly.
they would get free marketing out of it plus like a 99.9% chance to win it back anyways. But there's one thing you have to remember: if you have more than 98.5% of the total value in the pot, you're guaranteed to lose.
What do you mean?
If you have more than 98.5% of the value in the pot, you're guaranteed to lose. Simply because
Oh, I
you will
see.
pay 1.5% in fees. So you're basically just taking a chance to either go status zero or lose. So yeah. Make sure you never exceeds 98.5% because then you are not doing it right.
I understand. I get exactly what you're saying. So I guess somebody in that scenario, if they knew they were going to win, they would say, hey, that 1.5%, that's marketing dollars or something.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I
Yeah.
gotcha.
And if they were already staked and maybe they have a lot of stake, they would get some of it back anyways, right? So,
True. PvP fights, because bum fights was already taken.
oh man, back in the days with the bomb fights,
Yeah, yeah,
never
yeah,
forget, never forget.
yeah. I saw a video recently with that guy from bum fights went on to Dr. Phil, and he
Ah, I
was
saw that as well.
yeah,
So
that was crazy.
he was thrown off the show, I think, for just trying
Yes,
to
he
defend
was.
it.
Yes, he
Crazy.
was. Yes, he was.
Unfair to invite him on and then he defends it and gets kicked off. Like, what did you expect?
Exactly. Dr. Phil knew who he was bringing on. Like, come on.
I think it was the fact that he had the shaved hair and he was like putting out, he was like mocking him, right? That was so funny.
Oh, that was hilarious. He's like, "What do you mean? What am I doing wrong?" It's like, oh, that it was actually kind of an insightful thing in a way. It
Yeah.
was pretty cool.
Legendary clip though.
The code is legit. The ethics relative to gambling are stellar. Love this project.
Thanks, Ruskino. I agree.
All right. Well, I am out of questions. I have a lot to digest. I'm happy if anybody is still here that, or I see people are still here. We got 58 people watching. Thank you all for being here. Please like, please subscribe. I have Jacob's Twitter information in the description below, so you can link out to everywhere from there. Please give him a follow. If you have any more questions, I'll stick, I'm talking, so feel free to drop a question. But while we wrap up, if there are no more questions, Jacob, do you have anything else you want to say? Anything you want to address? The floor is yours. Take your time.
Um, Thank you. So I would just want to thank everyone for coming here and listening to what we had to discuss. I appreciate that. And we are obviously working extremely hard to satisfy everyone, and we will not stop for a very long time. We are here to truly disrupt the market, and we are here to build something truly unique. And if you want to join us on this journey, you would be more than welcome. We are always open and transparent for any question that comes our way. And we would just hope that you see the same fundamental value as we see in this project. And I will appreciate anyone who would like to be a part of the journey we are going on. So thank you to everyone, and have a great night when you get there.
Well said. And Jacob, I appreciate you again coming on, being so open, transparent, answering all these questions. Some of them are harder than others, and I appreciate you approaching those hard subjects. It says a lot about a person, says a lot about a founder, and I look forward to learning more. And we have one more. JJ says Dex bet.
Pretty good.
So yeah, again, appreciate you. I look forward to interacting with you out there. Good luck on your launch day for the games.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's going to be one hell of a day. And it will be interesting to see what the market evaluates the token as when we have this fixed value in the game. I believe that if the volume is high enough and we see a diverse crypto input, the price will reach parity with the contract faster than you expect.
In terms of the $30 value,
and that's the most speculation on price I will go into.
Well, I mean, look, I know we as a community, we talk about market cap being a vanity metric, and to some extent that it is. But when I still like to use it as a metric because it to a degree but gives an area of speculation as to what may or may not be possible. With the million tokens, without the buy and burn at all, I'm not saying we're going to see Bitcoin prices. I'm not, okay? But just theoretic market cap speaking, Bitcoin achieved 69,000 with, 19 million tokens in supply. This is 1/19th of that with the buy and burn mechanic. I'm not saying it's going to go to 70K. This is not financial advice. I'm strictly speculating based on market cap. These numbers wouldn't destroy the paradigm of market cap. So
I agree. And especially when we are addressing a real market with real demand, with real problems. So I truly believe that we can go above and beyond, and we can surprise everyone. And that's what I'm working very hard to do.
Well, all right. I appreciate you. I don't see any more questions. If you don't have anything else, I'm going to drop you down for a moment. You're welcome to hang out in the back. I'm just going to close up the stream and then I'll end it.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, brother. And I will see you next time or sometime around. And everyone, please have a continuous good day. It was appreciate you tuning in. And hopefully I'll see you in the chat, or I will see you buying on the Blog Explorer, right? So have a great day, guys. Thank you very much.
Hey, you too. Thanks, Jacob. All right. Well, we deep dove there. We got into some philosophy. We got into tokenomics. We're at about 2 hours here, and there was still probably more conversation to be had. When you get into a project like this that has a lot of variables to it, not only in the sense of its tokenomics or financial variables, but in its social and philosophical perspectives as well. I took from that was the longest conversation I've had with Jacob. I have talked to him before. I've seen him out there in the space. He's always representing himself well. On a human level, I really appreciate and respect him and what I know about him. And he presents himself well, carries himself well. He answers questions. I asked him some questions that, for all intents and purposes, were difficult questions. And he answered them well. And he kept a good character and he remained respectful and approachable. I appreciate everybody joining the stream. It's amazing to me as a content creator to see these numbers, 50, I think we hit like 53 or 55 people That to me is honoring and validating that we're here doing the right thing in the right place at the right time. And I appreciate each and every one of you contributing to this movement, contributing to the growth of this channel, to me as a human being, and to the crypto space in totality. Again, thank you all for being here. If you have 2 minutes at the end of this stream, I'm going to play the Internet Money Anthem. It's an awesome song, has some philosophy, has some beats made by our incredible community member, Base God. Until next time, I hope everybody has a great day. Peace.
What is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is more than just money. Cryptocurrency is a lifestyle, a philosophy, an ecosystem, the means by which human beings to attain financial freedom, not just in the sense of multiplying their investment, but giving humans the ability to interact with money in any way that they see fit. And if that way doesn't already exist, that's the beauty of crypto, is you can create it. And that's what we've done here. Internet money is the future. Internet money is the future. What is internet money, you ask? Well, it's just that.